Hey, Lamar. You are muted, my friend. Let me know when you're all set.
Hello.
Oh. Hi. How you doing? How's things for you today, my dear? Doing okay? Uh-oh, you're frozen.
Good.
Okay, I heard the good part. You're still frozen. Like, it looks like you're just standing there. Only I know that you're not. It still looks like you're just standing there. There you are. Da, da, da. Yeah, cool. Awesome. I am going to turn up my volume because there's weird sounds in the background because the is that okay? That's you. Make sure I'm looking okay. All right. So, did you want to learn how to make fresh pasta today?
Sure.
Awesome. Okay. So, I'm gonna tilt this down a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this, it's like I need a clean counter space. So you got to make sure that you get it really nice and clean and then dry. And then I'm going to start with a cup of flour. This is regular all-purpose flour, regular Joe Schmo flour, right? I'm also going to pull out a little bit more with my cup and leave it off to the side. I know you can't see that, but basically it's like here, but I'm just moving it out of the range of the video. All right. Then I'm going to do this cool thing. I'm going to do it a little further down. Yay. Okay. So then I'm going to do this thing. It's called making a well. Fancy for, I'm going to put a hole in the middle of my flour. And I do it by moving my fingers around. And I keep on kind of moving the flour away from the middle. And then it's almost like building a really, really soft sand castle. You know what I mean? Okay. So I've got my nice well in the middle. Then, and I went to Grocery Outlet yesterday, and I happened to pick up, oh, hold on a second. I'm letting in Miss Grecia. So I happened to buy medium eggs. So, and the cool thing is, in the very, very beginning, medium and large eggs, you can kind of use the same. Only for the very first two. After that, the ratios start to shift. But for my 1 cup of flour, I'm going to use 2 eggs. I'm going to use 2 medium eggs because it's what I got. So I'm going to just break them right into the middle of my well. And get rid of my eggy white. If you want a richer kind of noodle, instead of doing 2 eggs, you can do an egg and an egg yolk. Get a little fancy. You don't have to. You can just do 2 eggs, and it's totally fine. All right, I'm going to put these eggs away for now. And then I'm going to, I used one before. Then I'm going to grab a fork. So far, I've got my eggs, I got my flour, I got my fork. I'm going to add a little bit of salt right now, just a little. For this much, maybe a ½ teaspoon, quarter to a ½ teaspoon, depending on how much you like salt. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, like, I like a little bit of salt. And a tiny bit of olive oil. So ½ teaspoon, totally okay. I'm doing it by looking. I'm not actually measuring. Sorry. All right, so then I'm going to, in the middle, I just broke the yolks, and I'm going to carefully in the middle start to beat them together. And as I start to beat them together, yes, the eggs will start to come together, but they start to grab a little bit of flour as it kind of goes by. Exactly what we want it to do. And then I'm going to start to push a little bit of flour in there. I'm trying not to fully break the walls so that the liquids don't end up kind of going across the counter. So I'm just taking off the tops of the well that's around the eggs. And pretty soon it will get to a thickness that it's not going to actually smear across the counter, right? And at that point, I start to mix in a little more flour. And I'm going to take off that egg from my fork and start doing it with my hands. But it's gonna get messy. That's okay. We have ways to solve the messy, not to worry. Okay, so I'm just starting to mix it together with my hands now. And I'm also trying to not get my hands completely covered in the flour, in the sticky part of the yolk. So because that's going to tell me if it needs more flour. If it's sticky, if it feels really wet, it needs more flour. So I mix it in. So we're going to have this thing, and it's kind of, they call this shaggy. Can you see that it's kind of shaggy? It's not like all together. So this is a shaggy ball. Once you have your shaggy ball, then this is when I said, remember I said that there's a way to just get the stuff off your fingers, no problem. Do just like this. You rub your fingers together and poof, it will let go, and yay, you don't have it on your fingers anymore. So once you've got your cute little shaggy dough, you're gonna start to do a fold and push motion. So see how I'm kind of folding it a little bit and I'm pushing it. I'm also adding a little flour as I go because it's still pretty wet. And in the end, we don't want a wet dough. In the end, we're going to have something that is a springy, very elastic kind of a dough. So, do you know what kneading is, Lamar?
Huh?
Have you ever kneaded? It's a weird word. Kneading. Kneading.
No.
Okay, so kneading is fancy in dough speak for folding something in half and turning it. Okay, so I'm going to take my dough, I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to press out with my heel, the heel of my hand, the palm, a little bit. I'm going to turn my dough. I'm going to fold it again, do the exact same thing. Turn, fold, push. Turn, fold, push. Got it?
Yes.
Now, I start to do this quickly by going back and forth with my hand, with the palms of my hands. And every so often, if you're like, oh, my hands are sticky, they got too much stuff, great. Go back and do the little, I don't know what you call that, wiggle to get the stuff off your hands. So the other thing is, as you are folding and pushing, you'll feel if it's starting to stick to the counter or to your hand. If it does, you need a little bit more flour. Not a lot, not a lot. So every time you're like, hey, that's a little sticky, you add a little bit of flour. And then you go back to that fold, push, turn sequence. So how long do you think we have to do the fold, push, turn until we like it?
What?
It's kind of a lot. It's about 5 minutes. It's actually not that long. And so I have this fancy schmancy thing. It's called a bench scraper. It helps me scrape things off here. However, you don't need it. It's not required. It's just one of those cool fancy things I happen to have. So if, let's say you don't have something like that, you can use the back end of your knife to get things loosened up on your counter. Okay. So I'm going back and forth. So you can see that I'm pushing out, then I'm folding it, turning it, and I'm passing it off. So. A little bit sticky. All right. Hello, Miss Gracia. How are you, dear?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing all right. I had a real breakfast this morning. I was very excited about that. I had let's see,
What's
broccoli and
that
eggs.
So, I know, mommy. I know. Let me just read.
The last time I talked with you about pets, Miss Gracia, I believe you said something about kittens.
Yeah, I have kids.
You do? How old are these kittens?
They are like a month, I think, or two. Actually, I have no idea. Hold up.
So Lamar, you want to be able to take a look at these cute kittens? I want to see these kittens.
You said what?
So Gracia, the other person who's on with us today, or for right now, she's got kittens. And I don't know about you, but I think kittens are super cute. What do you think, Lamar?
You said kittens, right?
Kittens, yeah, little baby cats.
Okay.
I love baby cats.
See, there we go. Okay, so then we're waiting on Miss Gracie because we want to look at the kittens, as long as it's okay. So let's see, how many funny cat videos do you watch every day, Lamar?
None.
Really?
No.
Look at a baby. Oh, cutie pootie. Oh my goodness, so cute. So cute.
How many do you have?
I have 6.
Oh.
Why, you want one, Lamar?
Kinda.
Uh-huh. Would your mom or dad, who do you live with, sweetie? So would the people you live with allow you to get a cat? All right, I think that my dough is getting to this happy place. All right, so the test for your dough to see if it is ready to be wrapped up in plastic is this. So first of all, I'm grabbing onto it and my hands aren't sticking to it. So that's 1. 2, it should be pretty soft. See how I'm kind of squeezing it? It's pretty soft. And when I press it, see how it starts to come back? And after a bit, this will completely, I probably dug a little too deep, but yeah, so see how it pops back? So when it's popping back, that means you've kneaded it enough and you can wrap it up in plastic for a half an hour and let it hang out. Okay? So I did one earlier so we wouldn't have to wait for this one. So I'm gonna wrap this one up and then I'm gonna grab the other one and I'll show you some cool things that you can do to make noodles. And you don't need, you do not need any special equipment. They even have some cool stuff, I will admit, with interesting textures. And they'll put the textures onto the noodles because it helps hold sauce. It's the whole reason for noodles to have loop-de-loops and up and downs and all that kind of stuff is for the pasta to be able to hold sauce. All right, so I'm clearing my space because I don't want any of, see how I have little bits of the old dough that didn't get into this? I don't want those to get incorporated into the new dough. So I'm just gonna clean my space really quick. I'm not like gonna be crazy about it. I'm just trying to get everything out of the way. All right, so now But you just got rid of the flour, chef. What are you doing? Really light sprinkling so that nothing sticks to the counter. Okay? All right. This is the one that I did earlier. Notice they look almost identical. And plop that guy down there. So the other thing is I'm going to put a little flour on my hand so that I just get a light dusting on this. Now I'm going to cut this little ball in half. Can I do it with my, what is this, butter knife? Absolutely, I can do this with my butter knife. I don't need anything fancy to do it with. Ta-da, right, in half. Oh, I was a goofball because I should have kept that piece of plastic. Because you want to make sure to keep your fresh dough really well wrapped until you're definitely ready to use it, because it can dry out and get a skin on it, and that makes it really difficult to work with. So now I've got this cute guy, and just because I want to try and go quickly enough, so I'm going to cut off a little chunk. Ooh, wow, that was a horrible sound, sorry. And then I'm going to turn it into just a nice long rope. Okay, so I'm starting to roll it out. And this is when you don't want too much flour, because otherwise it won't roll, it'll just slide. We don't want it to slide, we want it to roll. Stop. You guys remember doing this from like elementary school with Play-Doh? Totally the same principle.
Ooh, I like that so much.
So, okay, so I'm just gonna go super duper simple on this one. Okay, so I've got my little guy, and then I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna chunk off about 1-inch pieces, okay, give or take. So, yay, big, not huge, right? And then I'm gonna take my knife, I'm gonna hold on to one side, and I'm gonna pull. Okay, so see this long, funny, thin thing? So if I then take my fingers and I turn it like inside out, whoa. So I got my little guy, right? This is supposed to be, I think it's, okay, Italian is not my first language, so sorry. But orecchiette, it basically means like the ear. So it's supposed to look kind of like an ear. All I did was cut off a chunk, placed my knife so there was enough dough on this side for me to hold it. So that's all I'm doing is holding it so it does, if I keep on going like this, it's just gonna slide, right? So if I do like this, then I'm gonna be able to pull out that piece of dough. Ooh, I missed on that one. And then I'm gonna turn it inside out. And do that kind of bump up in the middle, just like in your ear. And then you put it down. That's it. Now, I can let these dry, or I can cook them immediately. And fresh pasta needs like 2 to 3 minutes. They are not, they're not like regular dried pasta if you're doing it totally fresh. All right. Now, I'm not gonna make all orecchiette, but yeah, like I said, Italian, not necessarily my first thing. And okay, I know I said you'd only need a fork and a knife. However, if you wanted to, you could roll out the dough to make it into flat sheets. And if you don't happen to have a fancy schmancy roller at home, but you've got a can of some sort of soda, you have your rolling pin. You don't need some sort of fancy schmancy rolling pin. Cool, yeah? I don't have to go spend 30 bucks on a rolling pin. What? Are you crazy? Probably a little. And every time I'm giving it a little bit of pressure. I'm not trying to smash the heck out of it. All right. Getting there. I think I'm going to go for a couple more passes, and then I'm going to show you something that I think you will think is pretty cool. All right. So one of the things that they talk about is your dough is thin enough when you can see your fingers through it. And I don't know if you guys can tell. Can you guys see my fingers through that?
Yep.
Okay. So you can get it thinner than this. If you want to, you can get like super crazy thin. Rock on with your bad self. But as long as you can, if you're doing something flat, as long as you can see yourself, you're cool. All right. So again, I'm going to use my handy dandy butter knife because pretty much everybody has one. And I'm going to cut a square. Okay. Square. And if I wanted to get super fancy, there's little rollers that will make designs on the edge and get all fancy and yay, but guess what? Not necessary. All right, so I have now cut my square-ish triangle, okay? First thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna squeeze, if I pretended that this was in thirds, I'm gonna just do little lines to kind of show you. Okay, can you see those lines that I've made it in thirds?
Just a little bit.
Just a little. I probably should have dipped my knife in the flour. That would have been a little bit easier to see, probably. But, you know, hey, I'm learning on this stuff. So basically, thirds, okay. That first third, you pinch in that first third right in the middle. Sort of in the middle. And then you pinch in that second third, again, right in the middle. And then you take those two pinches and you mush them together.
It's a bow.
Right. So these are called farfalle. And again, I'm not Italian if I mispronounce it. Sorry. However, so those fancy bow tie ones that you get at the store, you can make yourself. Easy peasy. Okay? So that's something else you can do. You don't want to do that? Fine, don't. You want to do, let's see, fettuccine kind of size? Great, fettuccine size. You just make it a much longer rope, right? This thick one, that's called pappardelle. I have some of those up, I have dried ones up in my cabinet. So, lots of different ways to do it. Let's see, one was the other one I'm thinking of. And I've seen people, they just take it, they roll it out, they chop it into squares, and they throw it in the pan. So, lots and lots of options.
How about lasagna one?
Lasagna?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna cut a kind of a bigger, thicker square. Okay. And just for, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Good enough. Yay. Okay. Right over there and be cute. All right. So I'm gonna start to give it a little flattening. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna roll it out. And see how it starts to shrink back up? So you can either just keep on working with it or walk away for like 5 minutes, and that's gluten. That's the protein that's in wheat. And so it does this stretching thing. So if it's like elastic. Sometimes elastic's a little too tight, right?
Yeah.
And you have to give it a few pulls to loosen it up. Dough
Like
is
pizza?
exactly. Okay, I might end up with like a lasagna shaped heart.
Yeah.
So again, if I took a chunk like this, I could take a piece like this and roll this whole thing out like all along my counter, and then I'd have pieces like this but long for a big pan.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So depending on how much counter space you've got and the size of the like casserole dish, no, is that what that's called? Wow, not enough coffee, clearly.
Casserole.
That oh my gosh, brain just went super sideways. Holy moly. Major detour. Wow. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so depending on the size of your casserole dish, lasagna pan, roasting pan, whatever the heck you got. Heck, you can even do this in a pie pan if that's all you've got. It's just layering up different ingredients and the noodles. The size and the shape of the container is not the most important thing, actually. It is the ingredients you have. And you guys know Murphy's Law? You ever heard of Murphy's Law?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong? Right. And therefore, it also stands to reason that no matter how well you try and plan out your noodle to cheese to meat or vegetable ratio, it never turns out right. You end up with a little extra of something, always. I've let that go. Basically, I just throw whatever's left into a bowl, walk away from the lasagna, and eat it. All right, so I have my kind of strange shaped thing, and I'm again gonna be a cheater McCheaterson. So I don't know if you've seen in a grocery store that they'll have ones that don't have the little ruffly edges.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is basically this. I'm not going to cut off the ends. You can make it perfectly square if you want. Give it a little stretch. Presto! Ta-da! Lasagna noodle. Okay?
Mhm.
And the one thing to remember about lasagna noodles is they're going to be a little bit thicker than like fettuccine noodles or something like that. They're a little thicker because they need to be able to stand up and hold on to the sauce and not turn into complete mush. So you can still see my fingers, but it's more challenging. It's a little thicker. Okay? All right, how are we doing? Ooh, good. We'll crank this up. All right. So something else I wanted to show you is this. So I'm going to add, and this means I'm going to end up needing a little more flour, I think. Well, here's a question. Should I do fresh or dried herbs? If I do fresh, I'm going to need more flour. If I do dried, like garlic powder and Italian seasonings, those I can just fold on in. What do you guys think?
Fresh.
You want fresh inside or on the outside?
Inside.
Inside. Lamar, what did you say? I can.
Outside, but let's go with her suggestion.
Okay, so so one option is to do dried stuff on the inside, which basically means throughout the pasta, and then at the end we would toss it with fresh herbs. Or I go get fresh herbs from the garden. It'll just take me a second, and I can push those in. Decision is yours. Dun, dun, dun. Are we going? Lamar? Grace? Are you still at Fresh Inside, Gracia?
Yeah.
All right, let me go and grab some. I've got my scissors, and I have on my back deck, I have a little parsley. I have some fresh oregano,
Ooh.
and I've got some onion growing. You know what? I'll take a little sprig of that. And and I've got some spring garlic, and I'm gonna take a couple little bits of that. Hi, pup. Come on, baby.
Kitty!
Come on. Whiskey, come on in. Thank you. Good boy. So this is Whiskey, and that is Bean. And they are adorable, and I love them, and they don't belong in the kitchen. Everybody out. Thank you. Yes, good boy. All right, so let me rinse off my herbs. One of the things is if you're doing things with fresh herbs, A, yes, you wash them, and B, you're gonna dry them really, really well. Because the more water that gets into your fresh pasta, the more flour you have to add to counteract that. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. Lamar, was that cool? Not cool? You with me, man?
Sort of, kind of.
I know.
Maybe.
Basically, you just want to make sure you're really, really dry your herbs. So, and I know sometimes paper towels are a little bit funky right now and a little bit of a challenge. All right, so there is my lovely selection. So this is my fresh spring garlic. I adore spring garlic. Oh my God. There is my fresh oregano. I'm only going to use a few leaves. Oregano is pretty strong. And I don't have a ton of dough right here, so I'm kind of doing a quick measure. No, I'm not going to toss it in just as it is. We're going to chop it up or scissor it up, depending on what you want to do. Got multiple options. I'm pulling it off the stems. I just want the leaves. If I'm doing stuff with pasta, you only want the leaves. And then I've got, oh, there's my other little garlic guy. And then I've got a little bit of onion. So I'm going to take just a little bit, and I'm going to take off the end because it's a little dry. So I'm going to put this stuff away for now. Voila. All right. So now I'm going to grab a cutting board so I can chop this up. If I was a cutting board. All right. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wet paper towel underneath my cutting board.
So it doesn't slide.
So it doesn't slide, exactly. Because it helps it stay safe. If it's scooting across the countertop, it's really hard to keep it safe. Okay. All right, now, normally I would be honing my knives, but I already did that this morning, so we're just gonna call it. So the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my fingers on the front of this and go through the herbs. Okay, this creates a fulcrum effect, fancy words, right? Basically, it means a seesaw kind of a thing. You gotta go. Okay, thanks for hanging, Lamar. Hey, if you make pasta, will you send me some pictures? Please. If you do. You don't have to, but if you do, send me a picture or tell me how it goes, okay? Sure, chef, no prob, right? All right. Sign yourself out whenever you gotta go, okay, Lamar? Thank you so much for coming. All right, so now I'm gonna take my herbs and I'm gonna take my cute little piece And I'm gonna basically put them right down the middle. Okay, and I'm gonna get this stuff out of my way.
Clean as you go.
Sorta, kinda, yeah. All right, so I'm going to fold and press, and fold and press. And it's almost like you're making a little sandwichy kind of deal. And fold and press, and fold and press. So when you fold a dough and then roll it out and then refold it, it's called laminating. It's how they make croissant dough.
Ooh.
And how it gets all nice and really crisp and flaky, because they make this big thing of dough, and then they put this big old thing of flat room temperature butter, and then they fold over, and they do that a bunch of times. And there's these cool things called laminating machines. Basically, you put the thing through, it makes it all nice and flat, and you fold it and put it back through, and it makes it nice and flat, so you don't have to do the rolling pin. Yeah, the rolling pin yourself. Okay, so I'm starting to feel that this is getting a little bit sticky. So I'm adding a little bit of flour, not a ton, just enough so it doesn't stick. But the reason that we're doing the kneading is not because it needs more kneading per se. It's so that we don't have weird wet spots to it. So are you gonna make pasta by hand?
I will, and I'll show you my delicious dishes.
Awesome. Super excited to see it. All right. I think I'm liking how this is looking. So you can, oh, that's my husband sounding like Cookie Monster. That's really not how he sounds though. Oh, you were going for Grover? Sorry, my bad. Now, the other thing that will happen if you are laminating your pasta dough is it will get more chewy. It's part of that gluten development. So I like my pasta with some chew. So I don't want it to be a mush, I'm not a fan of the mush. All right. Yeah, kind of like that. All right, so now I'm going to attempt to roll this out long-ish.
With your fancy roller?
Yes. Well, let's see. I have a roller somewhere. See, I actually have a real honest-to-God roller.
Ooh.
And yeah, I know, right? And if you're using an honest-to-God roller, you want to give it a little bit of a rub down with a little bit of flour. That's all.
So it doesn't stick.
Oh, okay. There we go. Exactly. So I'm just trying to roll this guy out. And it's definitely got a lot of going on.
I'm back.
Hi.
My Wi-Fi was acting up.
Oh, so you're not going anywhere?
No.
Ah. Oh, so you were thinking you had to leave because your Wi-Fi was being goofy.
Yep.
I understand now. Okay. And if I wanted to, I guess I could cut this in half and put this on this side so it gets really nice and long. Do we want to do that? Do we want long or do we care?
Long.
Long. Okay, so hacking in half. Can I do this with my butter knife? Yes. Do I have to? No, not required. All right, so I'm kind of meeting them up and mushing them together. so that they become one nice, cute little dough. Nice, cute little dough. All right. Right. Oh, don't do that. Is that you singing, Lamar? What you singing?
Blueface.
Who?
Blueface.
I don't know what that is. Tell me.
Blueface baby.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Just pretend you know, Steph.
Awesome. Fabulous song. It's amazing. Delighted to hear it. How's that? Did I do good?
Yeah, great.
Oh my gosh, why is this being such a pain in the butt? I'm having trouble today, right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's funny. You know what? My other fellow chef instructors were like, if things go wrong, just keep it. They love it when you mess up. When things don't go right, they're super happy. What? That sounds so messed up. All right. You guys can certainly see all the nice herbs though in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a pretty decent
Ooh.
noodle-ish thing. All right. So I can do and then this is one of those like a knife like this or a bench scraper or something like that is good. If you know what's even awesomer, good word. I just made that up. If you happen to have a pizza cutter, it's fabulous because I just go down.
Meow.
Although that got kind of weird and squirrely at that end, didn't it?
It's beautiful.
Meow. Exactly, because a lot of people have pizza cutters.
Meow.
Okay, stop with the meow or engine that you're trying to make. Okay, I can't even talk right now. Oh, that was funny.
Okay. So I have to show you a thing. There's so many things that you can do if you have really simple stuff around, you know, a pizza cutter, right? And you don't have to have this, you can just use this. Skewer.
A skewer. Ooh.
Skewer, okay? So you hold it in the one place and you get it all nicely put around. And then you pop it off and you leave it. And you can't see what I just did. So see how there's this
Looks
cute
like a
little
spring.
cube? Right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So you can make these cute little corkscrewy looking guys by just wrapping it around a skewer. Love it. So, okay. Ooh, I have boiling water. Woohoo. Okay. For these ones, should we keep them this thick or should we make them thinner? I can cut them down at half and make them thinner if you want.
Half of them thinner.
Okay. So I'm gonna go down through the middle, and I know that one got weird and skinny, but it is what it is. Welcome to home cooking. Woo. All right. Okay.
Nice.
Trying.
That's some professional chef.
More like just being patient, honestly. This is just trying to, like, where the heck's the middle of the noodle carefully roll down. Woo! Ta-da! All right. So I knew that guy was going to get a little skinny. So once you're done with something like this, you're going to
Put some
put
powder,
a
flour.
little bit of flour so it doesn't stick to each other. Okay. And then I can take this whole thing and throw it into my boiling water. And it will only take a few minutes to cook. So I'm cooking these, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing is, I'm hoping you can see this, that I'm like gently dropping them in. I'm not just dumping them in as a big clump, because then they'll stick together as a clump. So I'm going to give them a little stir again so they don't stick together. And let them do their thing for a minute or two. And I do already have a nice bowl. Voila.
Ooh.
And I'm going to come back out with my nice fresh herbs. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to use scissors. And I will cut some herbs in to the noodles once they come out. So notice they have started to float, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, once they've started to float, give them another minute or so, depending on how thick they are. These ones are a little thicker. But basically, once they get to the floating stage, you're pretty done. Again, like I said, give it a minute or two. It's not going to be a bad thing, because these ones are a little thicker. To give them a minute or two, that's cool. All right. So now I'm just going to pull these guys right out. What? I got olive oil and oh, thank you for the camera angle. That's my kid. Thank you, child. All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of olive oil. Can you do a little butter? Absolutely. Can you do a different kind of oil? Yup, totally. If you don't have these same herbs, you can use dry ones, like I said. And you can still toss them with the dry ones once it comes out. So I'm now going to I'm just cutting these herbs into cute little pieces.
Chomp those.
Yeah. With the oregano, I'm trying to get pretty little pieces. With the parsley, it's fine if they're bigger. And I have to say, it's kind of fun. It's like giving a haircut to an herb. It's kind of fun. I recommend it highly. It's one of those, that's really satisfying kind of thing.
That's my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
Eating a bunch of these things.
Okay, yeah, thanks, dear. Glad I bought them yesterday. They're almost gone. Oh my God. Love my child. Okay, so I'm also going to do a little bit of pepper. Now, I can do it. So this is a fresh pepper grinder, which means that I can do either really, really small or big or medium-sized pieces. And I like the idea of kind of big chunks. So I've undone this, and I'm going to do a couple of
Turns.
like yeah, so you can see here. Come here, you. So I'm getting pieces as big as that one that just fell down. Wasn't that helpful? That was awesome, right? Holy cow. Can't. Okay, it was big. I swear to God.
We saw it.
There we go. Okay. There's that. And because I like little Lowry's, I'm going to put a little Lowry's. Now I'm going to grab a fork. Not the one that I used before. It has raw egg on it. New fork. Turning this off. Okay, quick toss. Everybody gets into the party. Okay, and then I will take a cute little bite. I have to admit, it's pretty adorable.
Looks like a
Join me
noodle.
and stuff.
Actually, it looks like a snake.
Right? Mm. Nom, nom, nom. Okay.
Delight.
Hi, I'm back. Really nice chew. Great flavor. Fresh. Yeah, dig this stuff.
Is it chewy?
So it's got a nice chew to it. And I might have gone a little thinner, honestly. But again, I'm starting to run out of time, so time's a factor. But you can make it as thin or as thick as you want. If you make it thick, you want to cook it at a much lower temperature, like a simmer, over a longer period of time. So, but that's like super thick. That's more dumpling versus pasta. Pasta is going to be more flat and then turned into another shape, like that curly Q, right? Okay. 1 cup of flour. And basically 2 eggs, and then extra flour until you get it to that point where it's not super sticky. And you knead it. Remember, that's that turn, push, fold. Did I do that right? Fold, push, turn. Sorry, fold, push, turn. Yeah, that's the order. By the way, did you know I was dyslexic? Yeah. Getting things backwards all the time. Not kidding. I am. And so things go backwards. Yeah, that happens. It's a thing. Did you guys have any questions about handmade pasta?
No.
No.
I saw it all.
There's some really good recipes out there. Yeah, there's another thing you can do where you like just take a little thing and you mush your finger through it, so you end up with this
And that's it.
this little guy. So yeah, you've got lots and lots of different ways. There's lots of other videos online that do a really great job. There was this Italian guy I was watching last night, and damn, he's talented. But then they started using they're cool, the things with textures. And I'm like, okay, that's nice, but it's not, I don't know. It's not practical for me. I don't have one of those specialty boards. However, I can grab what the heck I got around. I got something like this. If I push this in and pull it back out, I got polka dots.
Ooh.
So you can choose whatever kind of texture you want to mess with, what you got around your house, right? You've got things. I swear to God, you have things that can make texture if that's what you want in your noodle.
I'm gonna use
right.
the concrete.
Oh my God.
The concrete?
Yeah.
That might be a little gritty, just saying. Oh my gosh, I don't want to have to stop, but I have a meeting that I have to get to. And yeah, so I have loved making noodles with you guys or showing you guys how. I really hope you send me a video of you guys making noodles, that kind of thing. If you're not sure of the recipe, send me a quick email. I will happily send it to you. I clearly have herbs on my front. Awesome. Because the food was good. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. You swear you don't have any questions?
Yeah.
What's up, Lamar? You froze, dude.
Oh, that's you froze, dude. No,
Okay, now you're not frozen. What's up?
nothing really.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, Grace, let me know if you need any help with the senior stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And if there's anybody else you can think of that is graduating or you think has graduated within this year, please send them a message so that they can participate.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, awesome. Right. Mwah, love you guys. See you later.
Bye, Chef.
Okay. Bye.